We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Hey, hey, hey. We are all gathered here to discuss the terms of weight. What is weight? Weight? Does it matter, or do skills pay the bills? Shakur Stevenson, under fire. Yet again, the contradictions are rising, and your boy Ego will expose the truth. Stay tuned to this video. We gonna talk about it. What did Shakur say in the past versus what he's saying now that got boxing fans like, huh? Let's get unpacked. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I don't know if y'all thought I was just saying it. No, I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. I really mean that. From audio quality to video quality, there's nobody in my line of work, one person, not like big teams and all, but one person that's doing what we doing over here. But more important than the tech, the quality that I'm giving y'all, the knowledge. What did Fredro say? Do the knowledge, ninja. Do the knowledge. The knowledge always holds up. And that's a staple of the channel. Not a bunch of clickbait, but real spill. And I've talked about this so many times. So it'll be a broken record for people who have been on my channel for a while. But this new generation, they keep getting themselves in trouble and they are not holding down the sport of boxing because they continue to make the same mistake over and over and over with seemingly no end. We're going to get into what Shakur Stevenson had to say, and this is part of my series, Now and Then, where we're going to listen to what you're saying now versus what you said then. So I'm going to get set up, and we're going to get it cracking. So right now, you're going to hear about what Shakur Stevenson said then. Here's an interview from Shakur that wasn't that long ago, and he was talking about the premise of fighting Ryan Garcia.
With it. I'm with it like something reasonable because he big as hell. Like, that nigga walking around 180. I'm walking around, I ain't going to tell y'all my weight, but I'm walking around not too far from my weight. So, he big as hell, so truthfully, yeah, it can happen. I just think it got to be at a reasonable weight. And I don't want no, like, rehydration clause. I don't want nothing that's going to take away from me actually beating him. So, but it's going to have to be a lot of testing. It's going to have to be, like, some real testing. And I'm with it. Like, I don't.
Okay. Here's the issue right there. He says, I'm with it. I'm with it. And following the I'm with it is a laundry list of all of these particulars that you are saying in an interview that come with fighting Ryan Garcia. That's problem number one. That don't sound like I'm with it. Like, if you have a bunch of, like, different rules and stuff. And here's the other thing that I don't understand about this generation, right? And maybe it's not for me to understand. Why talk so much? I don't understand that. Like, what is the whole point of negotiations if you're going to bypass it and negotiate your terms publicly? I don't understand that. I don't understand that concept. Like for me, it's like before I was doing this, I've had a ton of jobs before I became a full-time YouTuber, right? And at those various jobs, simpler times, by the way, simpler times when I had a job interview, I would go into the job, put on my Sunday best, and go and kill the interview. And me and the owner or the CEO or the store manager would, if they wanted to hire me, we would get to that point and they would lay out their expectations and what kind of position they can offer me, what type of role within the company they're willing to offer me. And part of the interview was what I could bring to the company. So the only thing left is the particulars. Hey, on Thursday nights, I go to school. I got some classes. I can't work beyond this time on Thursday. What is my rate of pay? You know, it's all about that money. You know, it's all about that bag, right? That's it. There's no need for me to go on social media and discuss my pay with the employer on social media. Like, oh man, they need to give me this. What's the point of that? I don't understand that. That is analogous to what you're saying here. If you are down to fight, I understand podcasting. I understand how it works. I understand why you would, for your brand, go on a podcast. But not everything is for the podcast. If you want to fight somebody, say that. You're like, I'm with it. And then followed by a bunch of stuff that could get in the way of the fight even happening. So what's the point of that? Again, and I'm not even telling Shakur or anybody to not have certain terms in mind. But the need to blabbermouth and continue to talk these terms like I need this, that is foolish. And this generation don't understand that. It's foolish because you've already put this out publicly. That's what me, the media, the fans, this is where we're going to hold you to because you had to blabbermouth and put out expectations. So in the not too distant future, when people are back wanting to see you and Ryan Garcia and you're saying something different, people going to look at this tape like, hold on, you said I'm with it. You said it got to be a lot of testing, right? Ryan popped dirty. Okay. You want testing. But like, even that, to be honest, it don't look great. And you know I'm about a clean sport. I ain't never advocate. I don't do drugs. I don't drink even. So I ain't never been an advocate for cheating. But here's what I'm talking about. The reason why it looks bad is once the two fighters sign up for testing, it's out of your control. You can't control. He's like, there got to be a lot of testing, a lot of testing. Bro, you're not VADA. If he signs up and you sign up, you have to kind of leave it in their hands. Are you in good hands? Allstate. You know, you got to leave it in their hands that they're doing their job and then train your best for the fight and wait to hear back if you hear about any adverse testing. But he talking about it got to be a lot of testing. You don't. Once the two fighters sign up, you aren't in charge of that. How many times do people get tested? I ain't never seen a fighter where they have jurisdiction of how many times their opponent gets tested. Never once have I seen that. What happens is two people sign up, and if someone has a tattered, tainted history, then they'll probably get tested more by reason of the prior test. But for Shakur to be like, oh, it got to be a lot of testing, all he got to do is sign up for it, you sign up for it, and then the rest goes to VADA and them doing and collecting and the fighter complying, period. Now, if Ryan or whoever don't comply, then clearly that's cause for the fight not to happen. and that would be reported anyway. So you can't say I'm with it and then come with all this stuff. Then you're trying to sound cool talking about, oh yeah, I want my credit. So I don't want no excuses. I don't want no rehydration clause.
With it. I'm with it like something reasonable because he big as hell. Like that nigga walking around 180. I'm walking around. I ain't gonna tell y'all my weight, but I'm walking around.
Bro, that's the other issue. He big as heck. So you're sizing up Ryan, talk about he big as whatever, right? He big as heck. He walking around at 180. And my weight, my walk around weight, I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is, but he big as, bro, this generation is fully on deck with snitching. Straight up. Tekashi, Gunna, and Shakur out here snitching. So you're, okay, first of all, how do you know another man's weight? Like, I agree Ryan does look pretty big, but you put a weight on it. You said he's big as heck and he walking around like 180s. How do you know that? How do you know that? And why are you willing to put that out? But on this podcast interview, you're not willing to put your weight out. So you're going to put another man alleged weight out, right? But you're like, I ain't going to tell you how much I'm weighing these days. I ain't going to tell you all that. Like, what? What are we talking about, bro?
Like that nigga walking around 180. I'm walking around. I ain't gonna tell y'all my weight, but I'm walking around not too far from my weight.
I ain't going to tell you my weight, but I'm walking around not too far from my weight. So basically, he big as heck. He weigh like 180, but I ain't going to tell you my stuff. I ain't going to put myself on blast, but I'm close to my walk around weight is close to my weight I need to be at. Trust me, bro. That's a trust me, bro.
So he big as hell. So
he big, but I'm not. Trust me, bro.
Truthfully, yeah, it can happen. I just think it got to be at a reasonable weight, and I don't want
at a reasonable weight. What does that even mean? There's 140, 147. What is a reasonable weight? These people, these new fighters are terrible on the mic. A lot of them.
No like rehydration clause. I don't want no like rehydration reasonable weight, and I don't want no like reasonable weight, and I don't want no reasonable weight, and I don't want no like reasonable weight, and I don't want no like rehydration clause. No like rehydration clause, rehydration clause, rehydration clause, rehydration clause.
I don't want no he said I don't want no rehydration clause.
It can happen. I just think it got to be at a reasonable weight, and I don't want no like rehydration clause. I don't want nothing that's gonna take away from me actually beating him. So, but it's gonna have to be a lot of testing. It's gonna have to be like some real testing, and I'm with it. Like,
so again, that's what Shakur was saying. That's the den. It got to be a lot of testing. You're not in control of testing. He sign up, you sign up, Vada do the rest, or whoever you get. Then you're like, it got to be at a reasonable weight, vague, ambiguous language. I don't even know what that is. Then you say, but I don't want no rehydration clause or anything that takes away from my performance. You literally heard him say it.
Rehydration got to be at a reasonable weight, and I don't want no like rehydration clause. I don't want nothing that's gonna take away from me actually beating him. So, but it's gonna have to be a lot of testing. It's gonna have to be like some real testing, and I'm with it. Like,
so what this looks like to me is somebody who wants to appear confident, wants to appear that they're up for the fight, but they have a bunch of stipulations that kind of lean towards caution, if anything, right? Now, beyond that, that was the then. This is a brand new interview from Shakur. So, mind you, he just said in a past interview, I'm with it. I ain't going to tell you my weight. I'll tell you his weight. He big. So, it's going to be a lot of testing. And in addition to a lot of testing, they got to be at a reasonable. I need my weights to be reasonable. And in addition to that, I'm with it, but I don't want no rehydration clause. But the weight got to be reasonable. Okay, whatever. This is what he's saying now, bro.
Yeah, I don't see neither happening at 147 pounds unless it's under the rehydration rules that I said. So
With it. I'm with it. Like,
Bro, what? So now when being asked about fighting Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia, he says, I don't see neither of those fights happening unless it's at the rehydration rules that I set forth.
yeah, I don't see neither happening at 147 pounds unless it's under the rehydration rules that I said. So
I'm done, bro. And that's how you catch a body. So this is what Shakur and a lot of these Gen Z fighters are doing that is horrible for boxing because, again, you want to make it look like ain't nobody want to look like a chump. Nobody want to look like I'm afraid. I don't want to fight. So everyone's going out of their way to do the tough guy stuff and be like, man, I'll fight anybody. Oh, anybody can't get it. But the difference between the past generations, when Adrian Broner said, ah, man, you know, AB, algebra books, Archbishop, anybody can get it. Pops, brush my hair. Bring my girl in the ring so she can brush my hair, right? When Broner said anybody can get it, he really meant that. He went from Paulie Malignaggi with no power at 47 after jumping 2 weight classes to Marcos Maidana. Now, you're not going to win them all, but you got to respect a 4-division champion by the age of 24. So Broner was cut from that throwback cloth where anybody really can't get it. He was calling out Floyd. He actually fought Pacquiao, right? He fought Maidana after fighting a light puncher. He didn't have to fight Maidana in his second fight at welterweight. He wouldn't have been undefeated probably if he would have fought someone a little bit lighter. You know what I mean? And he didn't do what Shakur's doing. So a lot of these Gen Z fighters, people are celebrating and like, oh man, this person, they got the power to be the best ever. But then we just watch a generation before them do more impressive things. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, right? Broner. We watched that whole generation and they weren't doing all this. They were doing very impressive stuff, definitely more exciting than a lot of these newer fighters, right? They were better on the mic, or they got better on the mic. Not doing this, not double talking and saying, oh, I'll fight anyone, and then having stipulations. Shakur literally he's like stuck in the mud. Now he talking about he don't see himself fighting Devin Haney or a guy like Ryan unless it's at a weight clause. Unless it's at a rehydration, the same rehydration that he clowned Tank for, the same rehydration clause and stipulations that he clowned Tank for, and said he didn't want in his contract because he didn't want no excuses. Now he don't care. And then now because you beat Zepeda and Teofimo, we're supposed to forget about everything else? I mean, it's not a good look, bro. Point blank, period. Not a good look at all. A man, I say it all the time on my channel, a man got to be congruent with what he said. If you can't even stay true to what you say, like if you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to eat less calories. Hey, I'm going to start getting up a little bit earlier. And then you can't do it. Like, I feel like what type of man are you if you can't even do what you say? Not somebody else, like, put something on you. But you can't even do, like, hey, I had to eat less sweets, and then you can't do that. So, yeah, the Ryan fight is a good fight, but I really don't want to see it with Shakur's energy right now about him talking about catch weights and rehydration, and I really don't see it unless it happens. And, again, Shakur, it don't make sense with what he said in the past. Why did you clown Tank? And here's the thing with Tank. All roads lead to Tank. Tank is actually small. I've been next to Shakur. I've been next to Tank, right? I've been next to Devin. Tank by far is the shortest and smallest of all these dudes, right? And you can see that in their fights. There's pictures of a lot of these guys together, right? So the smallest guy, people had a problem with him fighting undefeated Ryan with a rehydration clause. But then Shakur's way bigger and supposed to be more defensively sound and more skillfully proper. Now the same Shakurians, they're like, oh, we don't care. It don't matter. Ryan a drug cheat, so Shakur need this extra protection. Which again makes me not even want to see the fight. The VADA testing, cool. We good with that. We don't want an unfair fight. But you being a frame where you literally could fight at 47, you talked about fighting Conor Benn at 47 or 54, said you would cook him. Then what makes it worse for Shakur is he's constantly talking about how Ryan is trash. Ryan is a left-handed fighter. Ryan is not that good. You know, he'll cook Ryan. Ryan ain't improved since the amateurs. Why you need a rehydration clause for that guy then? You know what I mean? If it's like taking candy from a baby, then why do you need a rehydration clause at all from a person that you deem, not the public, you said was trash. You said he was one-handed. You said he ain't improved and he the same fighter that you beat from the amateurs. So, with that being said, why do you need any type of grace when we know you're a good fighter? So, clearly, there's something about Ryan Garcia that Shakur don't want to admit. Look, so this is a perfect picture. Do these guys look way too small for 147 pounds? I mean, get real, bro. And then you have to understand, know their heights, right? Does he look way too small to be fighting? And again, Ryan ain't even no like long-standing welterweight. He not like Jaron Boots in his size. Look right there. Look right there and tell me Shakur is way too small. Come on, bro. So, yeah, for me, bring on Devin Haney and Ryan rematch. I have zero interest in Shakur and Ryan at a catch weight or at 140. If it's at 145, 145 or below, if it's at 140 with a rehydration or any type of stuff like that, I don't even care about the fight, bro. Let me know what you think. For more boxing news, subscribe. We Unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.